Good morning, and thank you for being here. I'm Commissioner Jerry Bailey of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and today we're going to announce a statewide review of crime laboratory drug evidence. With me are our State Lab Director, David Kaufman, our Director of Executive Investigations, Cindy Sands, and FDLE Assistant Commissioners Jim Madden and Mark Zadra. Last week, we received a request for investigative assistance from the Escambia County Sheriff's Office regarding missing evidence from several of their drug cases. Working with Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan and First Circuit State Attorney Bill Edens, we began investigating the issue. Late Thursday, investigators found that lab submissions with missing evidence were processed by one chemist in the FDLE Pensacola Regional Crime Laboratory. Criminal investigation began, and yesterday that chemist was relieved of all duties. We've identified nearly 2,600 cases spanning 35 counties that chemist processed between 2006 and present day. So far, we've identified several dozen evidence submissions where prescription drugs were substituted with over-the-counter medications. As you know, this has the potential of impacting hundreds of drug cases across our state. Each regional special agent in charge is in the process of contacting law enforcement officials and state attorneys so that they may take appropriate action regarding any cases that they may have pending. And beginning Monday, FDLE teams will be deployed to those agencies that we know are impacted, and there are 80 of those so far, to physically examine evidence handled by this chemist to confirm cases that are potentially compromised. Service, integrity, respect, and quality are the core values of FDLE, and early indications are that this is a breach of each one of those fundamental values by one member in one section of one laboratory. And his cases that worked represent 1% of all the drug cases that were worked during that time period. However, the impact is going to be significant. Because of this breach, we have a lot of work to do to restore the confidence of our colleagues and of the Florida public. Our first priority is to find out exactly what happened in this particular case and work with the state attorneys to hold this person criminally accountable. Our second priority is to review lab protocols to ensure that this does not happen again. And I'm confident that our members are up to the task. Keep in mind that we are now in the early stages of a criminal investigation, so I'm not going to be able to answer all the questions. I won't be able to address everything that you have on your mind, but we will be glad to address those questions.
Commissioner Rowe, what is the motive here? I know you're early stages, but why would this chemist?
Again, early stages on a case where drugs like this are being taken by an individual. It could be personal use, it could be trafficking, it could be each of those. We don't know.
And could this possibly lead to cases being thrown out or prisoners being released from prison because?
It certainly can.
Is there any evidence that this was a swapping that was taking place because this person is personally using the drugs, or were these quantities large enough to be sold?
The quantities are large. But again, let me press, it's early in the investigation. We don't know if the individual is a user or a trafficker.
How was it discovered?
The Escambia County Sheriff's Office in Pensacola had discovered that they actually had evidence assigned to them in their evidence locker that they could not locate. From that, we jumped to the point that they had some evidence that they could locate, but what was in the evidence bags was in fact over the counter and in this, not the prescription medications that had been analyzed and returned to them. So it was the early diligence of Escambia County Sheriff's Office that brought it to our attention.
Why are you not naming the individual?
I didn't understand your question, Bill.
Why are you not naming
I'm not able to. Lawyers are telling me that under 119 it would be inappropriate for me to release that information at this time.
He's not been charged yet, is that correct?
He has not been charged.
How was one chemist in one office able to impact cases in 35 counties?
We have a lab system. We have 6 labs, one in every one of our regions with the exception of Miami. Workload shifts, and if the Orlando laboratory gets behind, they will transfer evidence to the Pensacola laboratory or others. So we have a very active transfer program to control workload within the 6 lab system that we have.
Do you have any ideas now on how this can be prevented again?
We are going to work closely, one, with our own members. We're going to talk with our colleagues, and by colleagues I'm talking about other accredited laboratories and laboratory systems, to see if there's something that we're not doing that we should be doing. And I will tell you that we very recently had a complete review of the laboratory, including that, and nothing was pointed out that we were not doing correctly. But we're going to start from zero. As of today, when an employee is hired by FDLE, we do a drug test then. After that point, we do drug tests for cause if we have reason to believe. We're going to look at our policies. We're going to look at the rules and regs that govern ongoing drug testing. But again, as was mentioned earlier, we don't know at this point that this chemist was actually ingesting drugs.